Now I'm going to speak to Vuyo Zungula, the African Transformation Movement leader. They have written to the acting public protector asking for an investigation into potential or alleged or suspected maladministration and abuse of unjustifiable exercise of power. That is the headline of their letter. Mr. Zungula, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Well, you've taken this step with a number of questions. I've got 8 key questions I've seen in your letter addressed to Advocate Kollega Kalega, the acting public protector. Why have you decided to take on this step?
Good afternoon. Look, what is important for us is that all public officials must always exercise their power in the best interest of the people. They need to follow the law, and they need to ensure that all visitors, when they are in the country, they all subscribe to the law. Now, what is happening, or what has been reported on that particular landing, the amount of secrecy and the amount of deals that are seen to have been concluded by Mr. Mabuyane when he went to UAE early this month clearly shows that there's something that meets that is beyond what meets the eye here. So it is for that reason why, as the ATM, we want transparency in the sense that it must not be a case whereby there's so much secrecy when it comes to this particular landing, to an extent whereby we feel or we view that there may be violations to the law. What's important for us is that state institutions must protect the integrity of our country, regardless whether a person's wealth is coming from UAE or whatnot. But our country cannot be undermined because we want citizens to abide by the law. So it cannot be that wealthy from other countries are going to do as they please, or the laws will be bent in their favor. However, the poor citizens of our country are made to respect the law and abide to the law at all material times.
You've also reached into the President, besides the Public Protector, to the Minister of International Relations, Minister of Defense, Minister of Intelligence, Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Finance, and also, of course, copying the Cabinet Secretary as well. And in that letter, you have 21 questions, a variety of questions that you've asked. Why is it important that you get a response to these questions?
The response will give the country clarity in terms of understanding what really transpired. I'll mention 2 things. The first one, it is the issue of the alleged donation by the president of that country so that the runway in the Vuyo airport could be refurbished so that he can be able to land there. So the questions there, did that 20 million go directly to the Eastern Cape government or then to the National Treasury? Were the proper protocols followed in terms of receiving that money? In terms of the refurbishment of that particular runway, were the proper tendering processes followed in terms of supply chain management? Also, what is also curious in our view is that Mr. Mabuyane went there beginning of April. Now, mid-April, there's this president that is here, meaning all of this work would have been done swiftly, which raises questions whether these people that we elect to be our leaders in the respective areas, like the Premier of the Eastern Cape, are so eager, are so quick, are so swift when it comes to making life easy for international investors when they are wanting the infrastructure to be refurbished so that they can have a smooth landing. But they are so slow in terms of improving the infrastructure of our own citizens. In the Eastern Cape, children have to cross rivers in order for them to go to school. The roads are a mess. So it is generally a very, very bad province when it comes to management. Now, when it comes to the issue of the Home Affairs, we note that the minister stated that that airport was given authority or was declared an international port of entry. The letter is dated the 19th of April, and it is stated in that letter that that allowance has been given from the 12th of April up until the 12th of May, which raises questions as to why only on the 19th you are backdating that these people, that airport was going to be allowed to receive international visitors a week earlier. And lastly, on this particular issue, there's also the question of the Border Management Authority Act, which compels the minister, if he's going to declare any point as a point of entry, he must, 30 days, publish a gazette and give the citizens 30 days for them to comment before such declaration. Up until this day, we've not seen such a gazette. Therefore, it raises questions whether did the proper protocols, were they followed to the T when it comes to this particular lending?
Okay, now, are you worried we could be facing another waterproof lending like the Gupta family did? Or you just want more transparency? Because we understand the UAE has invested quite a lot of money in the Eastern Cape.
Whether they invest, it does not mean our laws must be, undermined. You'll recall that even South Africans go invest in other countries. They don't disrespect the laws of those countries. They abide by the laws of those particular countries. Now, what we think here is almost similar, if not more, than what happened in the Gupta lending in the year 2013. And if you recall, they used the officials as scapegoat instead of the people that actually took decisions that the Gupta family must be allowed to lend them. And in our view, you'll recall, Babu Den, that recently South Africa got grey-listed. Recently, we found that there was undeclared foreign currency that entered through OR Tambo and found its way to the farm of the president. Therefore, if you are going to have now a lending that is secret, and you are going to have aircrafts, you are going to have 500 people coming, you are going to have furniture, you are going to have arms, you are going to have a whole lot of things that have been brought by those planes. It raises questions whether South Africa is indeed serious about making sure that they get removed from that grey listing. And most importantly, they protect the territorial integrity of our country.
What are you going to do next? I mean, you've written these letters to the public protector. I'm sure you're expecting her to investigate, as she's supposed to do in terms of the law. But you've also written to the government itself. What are you going to do? And by when are you expecting a response, Mr. Zungula?
There's no indication as to when the response will be received. However, we're going to use the parliamentary channels because we've given the public protector our views, we've given the cabinet our views. So the other element that is now outstanding, it is using parliamentary channels to ensure that there's accountability on the side of all public representatives, all ministers, all premiers, to make sure that they did everything in accordance to the law. And most importantly, there is transparency so that all citizens can know what really transpired. We can't be anxious that what could have been transported by plane and what else could have happened that we don't know of. And what are the deals that have been signed by Mr. Mabuyane with that president of that country at the expense of, of our laws and our integrity as a country? We can't be disrespected as a country. We can't just allow people because they've got money. Politicians are going to bend the laws to please those people.
So the fact that Mr. Mabuyane and other officials say this visit was perfectly legal, nothing untoward, you don't buy that. You want transparency. You want things to be laid bare on the table, exactly what happened and who did what and who signed what.
The statement by the Premier's office, it is very vague. It is not giving any tangible information that would give confidence to anyone that indeed here there was no law that was broken. And we'll recall that beginning of this month, Mr. Mabuyane went to UAE, and 2 or 2 weeks later, the president of the UAE comes to South Africa under, suspicious, lending, which is hidden from the people, and there's airports that are revamped for 20 million, and also did that revamping of that runway actually cost 20 million. So what is important for us is transparency. Had that particular premier being transparent as to this is what transpired, these are the deals, and this is the passenger manifest, these are all of the issues that we as a citizens are asking about, there would be no need for us to actually do anything, because they've communicated enough to the public to understand that there's nothing that is suspicious. But the fact that they are secretive on the matter, it raises questions whether they are indeed laws that have been broken, and what else are we missing? That is the biggest question here. What else are we missing that the people are not being told about?
Okay, Mr. Zungula, thanks for that. But before I let you go, I don't know if you're aware of breaking news. I'm just taking this opportunity, and it's not an attempt to put you on the spot at all. At the bottom of our screens now, there's a crawler that says Mokhale City has a new mayor who's been chosen after the DA councillor there who was mayor, Tyrone Gray, was ousted during a motion of no confidence. Now, your party, Mr. Zungula, that you lead now is in the mayoral seat in Mokhale City, and that's a breaking news story now on the bottom of our screens. Denny Tupane is the new mayor of Mokhale City. Your reaction, please.
Look, Mr. Denny Tupane has proven himself that he's a servant of the people. He was previously in the MMC, and he turned around that department and made sure that he provided services to the people. And his conduct and his work ethic has ensured that, in fact, has made him that he's the ideal candidate that is supported by other parties. Now, what we need to recognize here is that ATM in that municipality has got only one seat. The fact that the other parties saw it fit to elect him as a mayor, it speaks to the amount of work that is done, and the fact that he's not going to be a mayor of a certain party, rather he's going to be the mayor of the entire city and ensure that he delivers services to everyone without discrimination. So we just need to congratulate Mr. Tupane and ensure that and emphasize that he's a servant of the people. He's indeed going to serve the people of Mokhale City.
Will he survive? We've seen this tumultuous period affecting all these metros in terms of the multi-party coalitions. You have a single seat, as you said, in the council of Mokhale City. Will Mr. Tupane survive as a mayor? Do you have enough support from the other parties that have banded behind him?
He's definitely going to survive because his work speaks for itself. His work as an MMC and his stature and his conduct in the council, because he's not hostile to anyone. Because what we miss here, Braden, is that majority or some of the political parties or leaders in these respective councils are people that are hostile to one another. And you find that they are unable to have good working relations across all parties. Whereas if you examine the character of Mr. Tupane, he is able to relate to each and every person. That is why, in our view, we believe that the parties that are there in Mokhale City are sick and tired, or were sick and tired of mayors of certain classes or certain parties. They wanted a mayor that will represent the entire population of that municipality, and we are very sure that he's definitely going to do a very good job. He's going to turn around the municipality, and the people of that municipality will be satisfied, and the parties will be happy, because if the people are happy, there's no reason for the parties not to be happy.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon and your reaction. Vuyo Zungula, the leader of ATM, the African Transformation Movement. We called you first to talk about the Eastern Cape saga of that lending. Now you've written all those letters, but we have a breaking news story that Mokhale City has a new mayor, and he's the only councillor there who belongs to the African Transformation Movement.